iPhone XS Max after 3 months. That video's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I've had the iPhone XS Max now for about 3 months, and I want to share with you my experience here. Now, I do realize that this phone is definitely out of the price point for many people. However, I've seen some people commenting that they already have this phone, so I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys anyway my take on this one after a 3 months experience. Now, we're gonna cover things like the build, the design, and display, but do recognize that the iPhone XS Max price point never gets discounted, so you're looking at about $1,100 for this device. And if you're in the US, depending on if you're in a different country, you could see it as high as $1,500. So this is probably the most pricey phone or the most premium phone you're gonna buy on the market today. However, does it really live up to its price point and everything that it does offer? So let's begin by talking about its build quality over my 3 months. Okay, so discussing my experience with the build, stainless steel on both sides of the XS Max or all the way around the sides, and a glass back complement this phone very well. And it's probably the most premium phone I've felt all year, to no surprise to many of you, even over some of the other phones that I've seen on the market that are top tier, like the Galaxy Note 9, for example. This one feels like the most, luxurious of all of them. So definitely giving the crown to the XS Max when it comes to that aspect. The build quality itself has been pretty strong. I haven't really had any scratches on this phone, although I have been keeping it in a case. It hasn't really had any scuffs to think of. And even if I don't use it with a case, it still doesn't get scratched up that easily. So I think that the build quality on this one is definitely A1. I definitely recommend a screen protector on here. But overall, just the way that the stainless steel feels in the corner of your palms just feels great. It doesn't stab your hands in the corner with not having sharp corners. Very nice curved corners here on this device, and the back feels smooth with the glass. So overall, very good build quality, although I still don't like this fat camera hump here on the XS Max. Very sharp. I wish that was just flat and flush to the body, but considering the technology that's in these cameras, I'm not surprised that there is a camera bump there. But I would like to see a bigger sensor if we're going to be putting bumps on our cameras, like a 1-inch sensor, for example, on future iPhones. Overall, the build quality has been stellar, and I think that if you pick one up now, there's no way you're going to be disappointed in any way when it comes to the build quality. So taking a quick second to talk about the design of all the notch phones out here, this one is the one that bothered me the least because the screen is so large here on the XS Max that even if you have a notch here, you don't really notice it too much in everyday use. Whereas on a smaller iPhone, you notice it a little bit more because the notch is just a little bit lower on the display. So I find this one to be a lot better than the other designs when it comes to at least that part of the phone. Now, I really like how with any iPhone 10 series phone, how there's basically no chin on this phone. And again, like I mentioned in the build quality section, I like how the corners are curved here on the device. This one is really large though, so I think it's too much of a stretch for people who have small hands. So if you got really small hands, this one is going to be much too large for you. But overall, if you really love this design, just go with the XS, the smaller one, if you want this similar design, but this one's too big. But overall, if you can handle it, I think that this is the best design iPhone money can buy right now overall in the iPhone XS Max here. This one is just really everything Apple can throw at a phone right now in 2018. And to no surprise, over 3 months, I really just love it. And every time I pick it up, I feel like I got my money's worth when it comes to the design. All right, so let's discuss the display. After 3 months with this device, of course, very large display, so you're gonna expect it to be pretty excellent in that regard. Now, it does have very balanced colors, I would say. So this display is not one that's overly vibrant, but more of a natural tone, but still much more vibrant than, say, an LCD on prior iPhones. But still, Apple's going for that natural kind of look here for the device. However, one thing that still annoys me with this phone is that there's no way to rotate the screen or split the screen, which for a display this size, I think should be happening here. Now, watching YouTube videos is actually very enjoyable as well on here. Even with the notch, it's still mostly screen here. And like I said, with no chin, Great viewing experience. Overall, I think the display is stellar, up there with the top 3 in the industry right now. So over 3 months, I'm definitely not disappointed with it. And it also gets even brighter, I feel like, for manual control than the Galaxy Note 9. Although the Note 9 will get brighter, but it has to be activated by really bright light. So like sunlight, for example. Okay, so let me talk about my software experience over 3 months here with the XS Max. I am running the latest 12.1.2, and when it first started, there were some reception issues. I didn't really have them, but people were saying that was an issue. Overall, iOS has been running very smooth on here as expected for this price point. The performance is basically perfect here for me on the XS Max. There is no lag whatsoever. Everything is snappy, everything is fast. Animations are buttery smooth. So what I mean by that is that when you open things up, the animation is just pretty much a pleasure to look at. It looks very nice to the eye. And I do think that if you're looking for a top performer, the XS Max is definitely at the top of my list for the best performing smartphones out there. Definitely the software and performance combined are incredible. However, I do think iOS still becomes a little bit boring as there's not a lot of customization that you can do with this. You can only basically put a wallpaper and have a grid of icons on your home screen. No way to put things where you want them, for example, here. And over 3 months, the iPhone XS Max, just running it flawlessly. If you like that minimal iOS, you like being in the ecosystem with iMessage and all that good stuff, then you will still like what the XS Max offers, but it doesn't offer things like picture-in-picture mode on YouTube. It doesn't offer any kind of split-screen multitasking, no customization really. It's still just your iPhone experience blown up here with a beautiful piece of hardware to back it up. So after 3 months, how's the camera been? We're not going to talk about the specs. We talked about that in the review. Really, I always love the fast shutter of the iPhone series. I don't think there's any phone that takes a picture faster than the iPhone that I've seen so far. I might be wrong, but let me know. I still don't like how you can't go into your camera settings right here from the app. I just think this is silly on a phone that is over $1,000. But hey, you know, that's something that Apple feels should still be in the settings. But if you're seeing this video, I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate you putting the camera settings right in the camera app itself. Over here, we do have some amazing settings once you're in those settings though, up to 4K at 60 and some of the smoothest video that I've ever seen on a smartphone in the iPhone XS Max, if not the smoothest video ever. So if you're looking for a great video camera, the XS Max is it. Smart HDR gives you some incredible dynamic range when you do take some photos with the XS Max. And I think selfies on this phone are probably better than most when it comes to just giving you a pleasing aesthetic from the front of the camera itself. So I think overall, the XS Max has been an excellent choice for me when it comes to a camera phone that just points and shoots and gets the job done and does it better than getting the job done. It actually excels in giving you some really high-end results. And if you were just starting out with a phone on YouTube, for example, or running a social media page, this could be all you need. This camera really does do quite a bit here with the iPhone XS Max. So overall, excellent camera here in this device. Take a look at some of my samples and let me know your thoughts if you still think this is probably one of the best out there. So when it comes to battery life, the iPhone XS Max is not the best battery life iPhone you could buy right now. That would be the XR. Over 3 months, I've noticed though that it's pretty much on par with my 8 Plus of last year, which I'm pretty happy with. So for all this screen and all this, tech you're getting in this package, I do think that having a similar battery life as the phone I really loved of last year's battery life in the iPhone 8 Plus is not a bad thing whatsoever. So the XS Max is definitely a good pickup if you're looking for a premium phone with premium battery life. Now, audio does fire out the bottom and the top of the XS Max, and it sounds pretty good in everyday use. It gets pretty loud. And if you cover up one speaker, you're still good to go. So audio is respectable for the XS Max. So when it comes to call quality with the iPhone XS Max, it's actually been pretty good for me. I'm in a major metropolitan area, so I don't really have much of an issue, but I can understand how some people in rural areas not having these Qualcomm modems, not having all the technology that you do get in, say, a phone with a Qualcomm modem could be messing you up when it comes to signal. So let me know your experience on this. However, I would say over my 3 months, it's been pretty good. And LTE speeds have been pretty fast ever since Apple's been updating it to make sure that they don't have those issues any longer. So the XS Max for me is a thumbs up on the call quality, but I'm speaking from like if you live in a major city. I can't really speak from living in like a rural area, for example. In conclusion, 3 months later, I'm definitely liking this iPhone more than any of the others this year, mostly because I like larger devices. The XS just seems a little boring because it's like the iPhone X of last year. The iPhone XR just cuts too many corners for me, especially with the display. For me, as someone who has the option to use OLED or LCD, I definitely have to pick the XS Max here. Although I do love the XR overall with its battery life, I do miss 3D touch when I do go to that phone. Also, this has the dual camera, making it the better camera phone. Battery life is pretty good, not as good as the XR, but really, after 3 months, it's a premium phone all around. And I wouldn't say it's the total package because it has a lot of things that I would like it to have, like split screen multitasking, for example. I would also like it to have maybe a little bit higher recording quality on the front facing camera. And there's just a few things like a little bit better battery life, maybe a fast charger in the box. So overall, for the price point, I think it hits a lot of the premium areas that, could make it worth this price. I still think it's a little bit higher than it should be, maybe like $9.99 to start on this one and $8.99 to start on the XS. But it is what it is here, and that's after 3 months, my experience on the XS Max. Let me know your take. If you have one of these, let us know how you've been feeling about it. Do you think it's worth it? Did you trade it for a different phone? Do you think this phone has just never been that exciting? Do you think there's just better options out there? Share your thoughts, and if you found this one helpful, entertaining, informing, enjoying, click that like button for me. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.